Well, good afternoon and welcome to what I hope is the first in a series of highly informative videos about Balochistan. If you're new to my channel, my name is Angela Carson. I am officially now the foreign tourist as far as anyone within the government who I've spoken to and in the tourism department who has spent the longest in Balochistan in many, many years, who hasn't been working there or there with an NGO. In 2021, I visited Balochistan 3 times so far, and I say so far because I do plan to go back again this year. I have spent 52 days in total on those 3 trips, exploring diverse districts and lots of different fun things to see and do. I've tried all of the luxury accommodations, which aren't many, but we'll be highlighting those today as well. So now it's probably time to start sharing some of that knowledge, because Balochistan, as far as female solo travelers, there are very few that have visited Balochistan. Rosie Gabriel has an amazing video out, and she actually went without security. I don't know how she did that. I need to ask her someday. But there are challenges to traveling Balochistan, but I promise you that the beauty of it, its people, the warmth, all of what you get from traveling Balochistan as a result of those efforts is so worth it. So worth it. Balochistan is by far my favorite region, favorite province in all of Pakistan so far. I keep trying to get them to let me live there and set up an office for myself there, but so far no one is signing off on that. If anyone's watching who would like to whisper in the ear of someone that I would like to do that, that would be great. Now, in today's video, what I want to share with you are 5 itineraries that I would recommend for first-timers to Balochistan or someone who's just looking for a bit of adventure or some fun. Now, I have been consulting with travel companies worldwide who have been seeing an interest these are foreign travel companies who are seeing an outbound interest in their clients who are requesting trips to Balochistan. So I'm not giving away all the details, but I'm giving you everything that you need to know to basically plan your trip and show you a few of my favorite itineraries. Now, I will tell you, my love for Balochistan is almost equal across the districts, but I do have slight favorites. And I've put this list kind of in my list of favorite order. So take that with a grain of salt though, because I do love all of what I've done in Balochistan. There have only been a few rough days, and you can find the longer, 20 to 30 minute versions of all of these videos and places that I'm sharing today on my YouTube channel. In case you are new to my channel and you haven't seen any of my Balochistan videos, I've had amazing experiences. I've also broken a toe, lost a toenail. I've crashed 2 drones in Balochistan. Both are alive and well. I have smoked a hookah with the wonderful women of the tribal village of Sasalgar. Let's see what else. I've watched the sunrise at Astola Island, and I'm the first person to shoot a sunrise time lapse of the island, which was a goal of mine. And so that's kind of a bucket list item for me personally that I've been able to tick off my list. I've also been very honored to be able to meet Chief Minister Jam Kamal, and I've had just so many wonderful experiences. 52 days of the best travel. Not always the most luxurious, but certainly an adventure always. Now, and one thing I do want to say, because everyone always asks, Balochistan is very safe. Now, over the 52 days, I have had the privilege of being escorted by, I'm assuming now, hundreds of individual local police, levies teams, and ATF, which is the anti-terrorist force. Sometimes I was with the same team for a whole week. We would eat together. We all slept, sometimes in the same house, sometimes just across the hall from each other. But I would get to know some of these guys, and it's the one thing I'm always asked is Balochistan safe? And I would have preferred to have traveled without those teams, even though I appreciate the reasons for why I have them. It really is safe in Balochistan. It's much safer than my home state of California, which I have talked about at an event in Islamabad. In case you want to see that speech, I'll put it down below. But I really hope that these rules and protocols change soon, because it really is a deterrent to tourism when you have to be escorted by the police. But I had a great time, and I want to give a big shout out and a big thanks to all those teams who've always helped me. Okay, let's get into it. Now, trip number 1 is my favorite of all time. I would highly recommend for first timers, especially families, a visit across LASBELA. And okay, LASBELA is the district that sits closest to Karachi, so it's very, very easy to get there. Now, to have the most perfect, wonderful LASBELA experience, this is how I would do it. You're gonna drive in the morning from Karachi and land up at an amazing village called Damb. Now, Damb, when I arrived there, I was the first foreigner that anyone had seen in, what I was told was that I was the first foreigner to explore parts of Damb that anyone had seen in 30 years. So it is not a touristy place. You can't sleep there. There really isn't anywhere to eat either that I found. So just know that going in, you're gonna wanna take some food. And just imagine this first part of your trip as kind of a picnic day. Now, it doesn't take long to get there. It's probably about an hour and 45 minutes, hour and 45 minutes, I would say. Now, as you can see, well, already, this place is amazing. What you're going to do is arrive and rent a boat from one of the local fishermen or locals there. Go out onto the water where you will do dolphin watching, which, I mean, I'm 50 years old and I had so much fun and felt like a little kid all day. So I imagine that children would absolutely just go crazy for this. There are wonderful dunes that you can roll up to as well, which I did. And you can walk around the dunes. I flew the drone, took photos. I had just a bunch of fun. They also have mangroves that are very, very special. And you can literally go for hours through the catacombs of these mangroves. This gentleman here was fishing when we came up, and he happened to pull a fish out. Our whole boat just started screaming. It was very fun. But this is a wonderful day. Take a picnic. There are places within the mangroves that you can hop out and have your lunch there. That is what I would recommend. From there, you're going to head on to Kund, Malir, which is a beach that does have some hotels and guest houses, and I think there's some government rest houses as well. But as you can see, this is also just beautiful. The sunset here was amazing. Our team actually stayed in someone's private home that was kind of abandoned. It was very strange, but a wonderful time. Now, the next morning, you're going to wake up and head out into Hingol National Park. And that, I would suggest staying in Kund Malir for a couple of nights for that. So do plan that, plan food, plan all of that. I know that there are restaurants and dabas in Kund Malir, but just FYI, I would take a bunch of food with you. Now, Hingol National Park is famous for a few things. One of them is the Princess of Hope, which is this amazing statue that Angelina Jolie made famous, I think in 2012, when she came to shoot a video in Pakistan. There is also a Hindu temple that is very, very famous and beloved in Asia. And there are mud volcanoes. There's a sphinx that I didn't get to. and lots of other wonderful things. When you're going through and Googling, just start making a bucket list of all of the amazing places in Hingol National Park that seem most fun to you. I got out and would shoot videos of camels as well because I'm cuckoo for camels. But I highly recommend Hingol National Park for 2 days. I think it would be pretty impossible to do it all in just one day. And it would be much more relaxing to go back to Kund Malir anyway at the end of a second day, and then start off the next morning on your next adventure in LASBELA. Now, for me, I think that is Bela City, and that's a couple of hours from Kund Malir. And Bela City is the princely district, or princely, oh gosh, I forgot the word now, of the Chief Minister Jam Kamal's family. The Jams are all from LASBELA, and that is where their family home was, which I visited. I visited old government houses as well, historic shrines, the graveyards where Chief Minister Jam Kamal's family is buried. I had a wonderful day. They also have my favorite market, bazaar, in all of Balochistan. And I've been to a bunch, so please understand when I say this was my favorite, it was my favorite. It goes on straight without much left and right side streets for, I would say, 1 kilometer or 2, and it had everything. I was so sweaty and gross by the end of it, but I had stopped a couple of times for drinks, and I tried to walk as slow as possible, but it's Balochistan, it's hot, it's really crazy hot, but just make sure that if you go to Bela City that you stop in at Bela Bazaar, because that was so much fun. All right, now my number 2 choice might seem odd to you, but I geek out on trains. I really love trains. I don't know why, but I do. So my number 2 trip that I think everyone should take in Balochistan is to ride the train either from Quetta to Sibi or Sibi to Quetta through the Bolan Pass. Now I'm going to show you, well, let's show you. Now I went with my buddy Safe from the YouTube channel Balochistan Land of Beauty. He is actually the person who was pivotal in me actually coming to Pakistan, because I fell in love with all of his Balochistan videos. So he and I went together and just had the best time. We started in Quetta, and the train leaves I think around 9 a.m. or 8:30, something like that, 8. And we arrived early to the station because we both knew we wanted to shoot video. The train journey itself is very relaxing and chilled. The train never gets going like insanely fast. So it's just a very relaxing journey. It goes through 22 tunnels that the British built they started building in the 1800s, and the construction, construction through the tunnels, or I don't know how to say that, was finalized in the early 1900s, and that's when trains started actually rolling. I think they had a couple false starts. There was some issues with the tracks as well, and storms that had come in and washed them out. But yeah, since the early 1900s, there have been trains rolling on this track, and Safe set up his GoPro in a couple of spots. So I'm still waiting for his video to come out, but mine is up on my channel if you want to see it. I think it's about 25 minutes long. It's a lot of train, but each of the stations that you pass is really charming, and the scenery and the landscapes, and just going through all these tunnels that you imagine, like today would have been a challenge to burrow through. But imagine in the 1800s how much engineering skill that took to make all of this happen. So it was such a fun day. Definitely take food with you. There are a few stations later in the morning and early afternoon that had some food, but in the early morning hours, it's not so open. And there is, well, I don't think that there was there was no meal car on the one that we took. So definitely take food with you, but I would highly suggest doing this. Then at the end, you can stop and either stay the night in Sibi and go back the next day to Quetta, or have your driver come and pick you up from the Sibi station, which is what we did, and stop at Pir Gabe on the way out, which are waterfalls that are just absolutely breathtaking. So that's my recommendation, would be to have your driver wait for you at Sibi, then do the hour and a half drive, hour and a half, I think, to Pir Gabe, go explore Pir Gabe, and then carry on the rest of the way to Quetta. Okay guys, number 3 on my list is Gwadar. This is a destination that I'm hoping flights start opening up from Islamabad and Lahore, and even Quetta doesn't have direct flights. At the moment, the only way you can get there is from Karachi. I have both driven in to Gwadar, I've driven both ways back and forth from Karachi, and I have flown. And both are great. Flying is much faster. When you drive, it's about 7.5, 8 hours. And you do go through Hingol National Park, so it's quite a pretty drive along the coast most of the way. But it's long, and there aren't always the best rest stops and things. So if you have small children, it's not the easiest. I would say just fly and get there, and that's the easiest. Once you're there, rent a car. If you haven't driven in and you fly, rent a car. You're going to want it. And they don't do self-drive at the moment. You need to rent a car with a driver, but I highly recommend getting that car and driver, because you are going to want to explore Gwadar, and the only way to do that is with a vehicle. Now, this is the drive-in that I told you I've done. It's very, very pretty. It is pretty. You get different landscapes. You're on the beach, go through Hingol National Park. I loved it. But again, I would actually just fly in and make my life easier any other time that I go. Now, this is the view from the Pearl Continental Hotel. That was my view all the times I've stayed. And I could actually see the Gwadar Cricket Stadium from Pearl Continental up top on the hill, which was very cool. But when you're there, you could stop in, see if you can pop in, see the stadium, because it's very pretty. Then from there, I would suggest starting with the beaches of Gwadar. You can do, I would do 1 day local sightseeing, and a second day go out towards the Iran border and do your sightseeing there. I would separate those for sure. The first beach you're going to hit is Koh Medi. This is, it looks like something out of a sci-fi film, or the detail and the way that the mountain has eroded is so special, and the pink tones and aqua tones of the water versus the sand, and it is just the prettiest beach. So the water was wonderful. I wish I had a swimming costume. I would have gone swimming, and you can definitely go in the water. The locals said that there weren't jellyfish, at least not the time when I was there. So ask, but definitely plan to take a picnic and spend some time at Koh Medi. Fantastic. There's also a fun fishing village just outside of Koh Medi that I had a fun time. I walked around a little bit. I stopped with the guys and we had chai. That was very, very fun. The chai is amazing in Balochistan, so stop anywhere you can for chai. Now, there are several Omani forts that date back centuries as well in Gwadar. So this was, I have links to all the videos down below, but take a look at a couple of the old forts because they really are just beautiful and quite well maintained. Well, the ones that I visited were quite well maintained. So you'll be very happy exploring that. This is Marine Drive, which is the seafront, like PCH Highway 1, like in California. of Gwadar. And you can go and watch the fishermen pull in their nets, pull things off the boats. I stopped a couple of times at this beach. I flew my drone here a couple of times. I had a ton of fun just kind of people watching. And the market in Gwadar is very fun as well. It was quite interesting because the women here definitely did not want to be filmed. And so I was a little more aware of that in Gwadar than in other places throughout Balochistan. It's quite conservative in Gwadar. So, but the market itself was fun things to eat, lots of shopping, bought some things for my mom, had a fun time. All right, now on to day 2. This is a longer drive. It's a couple-ish hours to get to Giovanni. So 2.5, I think. So that's why I'm saying don't try to plan everything in Gwadar on just one day. Try and actually space that out so that you aren't going mental with a crazy schedule. Now there's one beach that's quite special. It's like a secret beach that I was told that tourists really don't go to, and this is Guns. Well, it's spelled Guns or Guns in 2 different places, but G-A-N-Z is what I think Google has it listed at, so Guns. But this is a really, really pretty beach. Again, nothing to eat because it's just a village next to the sea. It's not a touristy place. So take all of your food, take a bunch of water, and plan to have just a few hours of relaxing, amazing fun there. I had such a lovely time. Everyone was so kind to me. They were very curious, I think, because they don't see tourists there, generally speaking. Now, this would be a place to watch the sunset if you don't want to go all the way to Giovanni Beach, which is closer to the Iran border. Now, we were trying to get someplace else to a village, but ended up at Damb Beach, which I was very happy that we did in the end because the views were so pretty, and the thumbnail of this video is a shot of me sat here at Damb Beach. It's like this rugged, moon-like, I don't know, topology to the mountains, and it's really, really pretty. The village, I was told, was really cute. Never found it, but Damb Beach is another beautiful place to escape to that's kind of a secret beach of Gwadar. Now, after this, try and work with a travel company that can get you access to Victoria Hut. Queen Victoria, now the original hut burned down and a new one was put up in its place. So there's a bit of controversy about if this is the hut that Queen Victoria was in, because really the one burned down that she slept in. But this is Queen Victoria's hut. I actually had tea there, explored the entire hut. It's beautiful. Well, it's charming and quaint and old and has a lovely view and sits right on the seafront. Okay guys, number 4 on my list is the district of Jalmaxi. Well, okay, it's pronounced Jal, it's like you take the A out, is what my very lovely friend Dina in Karachi told me, was that she couldn't understand what I was saying because I was saying Jalmaxi, and that's not it. It's like Jalmaxi. So anyway, however it's said, know that that is what I'm saying, Dina. I would highly recommend a trip there because part of, like, I had this initial bucket list of 5 places I wanted to visit, or also the train in Balochistan. And one of the places on my list is this amazing oasis that looks like something out of Avatar, or like an old Roman, like something you'd imagine like the Romans bathing in. And it's a really special district in that they really don't have any tourism infrastructure in place, but there's so many amazing things to see and do. Now, I felt very fortunate because I was able to meet 2 of the Maxi brothers who are tribal leaders in the district. And when I went to the Cholistan Desert Rally, I actually stayed in the camp of Amir Maxi and Nadir Maxi. And they were so kind to me, like big brothers, and let me, experience all of the Cholistan Desert Rally. And so when I was staying in Joel, God, it's like, really bugs me now. When I was staying, I didn't have to worry about hotels. So when you're there, I would recommend doing some research in advance. There are a few government rest houses and there are some private homes that you can stay in, but there aren't really hotels as such, but you can camp. And there's also like 1 or 2 companies that do camping and glamping. So when you're doing some research, just know you're probably going to be camping when you're there. There are no hotels. So let me show you why you need to put Jalmaxi on your bucket list too. Now I drove in from Gwadar and the views driving were just magnificent. I mean, all of Balochistan is just beautiful, but it was very picturesque and majestic there. The mountain ranges are very beautiful. So there is, this is Jal City there. This is the Mula River. And there's lots of amazing shrines and tombs and mosques and places to visit that made my stay. I was there for a few days visiting like tons of different types of sites and old mosques, new mosques. It really is a place that you can spend time. So do look at my longer videos down below. But the reason I went, oh, camels, I love camels so much. This one had such a cute necklace on. I loved it. Okay. The reason that I originally wanted to go to Jal was for this. It's Pir Chatal. This is the road leading up to it. And you can see you come upon this oasis. Like you're in the desert for hours. And then, these amazing trees and this gorgeous body of water. There's a really interesting fables and stories that go along with it. That water is just teeming with fish. But you're not supposed to eat the fish of that water. If you do, like terrible things happen. So do read up on the fable and folklore of Pir Chatal. But that place is just lovely. I had such a good time there. Oh, that is where I crashed my second drone as well. Yeah, so it'll live on in infamy in my heart for that. Now, one thing, the way that Google tells you to go, don't go that way. I've put down below in the description the way to go, so it just takes you a couple of hours from Jal City. That is what I recommend. Now, they also have a rally race every year. This year it's held in December. There are about 15,000 attendees who come, and the racers are mostly from, well, right now because of coronavirus, I would say all racers this year will probably be Pakistani, but they do attract international participants as well. And I have been through part of where the track goes, and it is wonderful. It goes through rivers and mountains, deserts. It would be such a fun rally race to visit. So do put that on your list as well if you've seen my rally racing videos and have gotten excited about that. All right, now last on my list, but not least, again, these are kind of in order, but just because it's really, really hard to pick a winner, is Ziarat. Now, this is one of the few places in Balochistan that has a UNESCO site. And what I am going to recommend to you is an early morning start from Quetta, because it takes a couple of hours and the roads are a bit windy. I remember having to stop a couple of times because it gets to be too much some days. And do an early morning start. And what you're going to do is first go and visit the home of the founder of Pakistan. He spent like a month and a half before he passed away here at this home. and it's just lovely. I would recommend then, after you visit, do a tour. They do group tours of the home, which you can see here. And this drone footage is thanks to my buddy Safe from Balochistan Land of Beauty. But you can see how charming and different this house is. And they do group tours. They'll wait until there are enough people and they'll guide you through. I was actually able to go on my own because I was shooting the video and had prearranged in advance. But they take you through every single room. There are items that the founder had, it were his personal use. So you can go and see or touch the telephone and different items from his desk and tour this amazing, gorgeous, very posh home. The bathrooms were fantastic, which I know sounds strange, but you can tell a lot about a place by the bathroom, by the restroom. And they had like big, gorgeous bathtubs and just very ample amount of space. And it was a very nice house. Now, there is also a lovely museum with so many hundreds of family photos. So once you've done the house tour and have visited the museum, then go and spend some time hiking some of the trails in the juniper forest. And this is, like I said, one of the only sites, well, one of the only standing UNESCO sites in Balochistan, because there's a real issue with UNESCO sites not being maintained at the moment, which I know the government is working on. This is one of the most important UNESCO sites in Balochistan, and I highly recommend it. I've seen videos and I wish that I had done some of the hikes, which I did not. I plan to do that on my next trip to Balochistan, and I will then put out a video, but it's definitely worth going and exploring the juniper forest. Now, I know what a push right now the Pakistan Tourism, the PTDC, is placing on helping to promote Balochistan. There has been a huge influx in requests for NOCs in Balochistan, and I know that the PTDC is putting out more and more content and supporting the efforts to try and promote Balochistan in a new and different way, which just, it warms my heart so much. I'm so grateful for that. This has been the first of what will be a series. I have a video that I'm planning on like how to travel as a foreigner, because it really is it's the most difficult trip I've ever had to plan. It's challenging. It's challenging if you're not Pakistani or aren't traveling personally with someone who is Pakistani. It really limits your options as a foreigner. So I have a video planned on that. I'd like to put out a few more itinerary videos and share some other, like for, you know, a week-long trip, what I would recommend. And I plan to put out a series, so stay tuned if you are interested in Balochistan. I hope that you will consider visiting Balochistan. For me, it's just, I say this all the time, so if you're new to if you're new to my channel, you'll hear it for the first time. If not, you guys just click out. But it feels so much like California, like Southern California. And so I think that's why I always feel at home there, because it looks exactly like SoCal. It looks like where I'm from, where I was born, where I grew up, you know, my first 21 years of my life. And it really is my desire to live in Balochistan, maybe 6 months, a year, I don't know, just do it and experience it, because I feel like it's one of those places that is still so like to be discovered. And that the feeling I get when I read comments like, you know, I'm Pakistani and didn't know that this existed kind of thing, those are the ones that make me the most happy after the luxury travel like reviews. It's those hidden gems that I'm sharing. And I feel like there's so many other places on my list still. Like Zob, I really want to go to, and there are other areas that I haven't been to, especially getting out towards the Iran border and Afghanistan border, not the border, but you know, some of those districts that, because of history, don't get a fair shake. They have had to deal with something that was not their choice. And I think that those areas must be just as wonderful as everywhere that I've visited so far. So yeah, that's part of why I love it so much. People ask why I like it so much. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, and it's warm. I hate being cold. It does get cold in the winter. The first time I was there was in January, but in the day it was marvelous, you know, short sleeves and all of that. And just at night it was crazy cold. But I do prefer to be hot because I'm from the desert. So anyway, okay, I'm babbling. I love Balochistan. If you've watched to the end, thank you. I will see you guys in the next video. I don't know what that is, but do take care, stay safe. Ciao.